Hey, how are you? I promised you part one of the Lucky League documentary. What could part one possibly be? I don't know. I'm just kind of doing this as I go. After a lot of consideration, I believe it's only right that I speak to you not as N Steele, not as Watermelon Roy, not as the champ, not as the commish, but as me, Andrew Steele. Andrew Roy Steele. I won't admit to it in character, but this is me. Lucky League is me. More importantly, it's a combination of all the things that I'm passionate about. I play multiple characters. Today I'm out of character. But realistically, I'm never out of character. Because character is what makes me who I am. And what makes a good character is the things that they're passionate about. The person that they are. The person that they enjoy being. The things that entertain them. The things that they want to encompass. I am a character. Always have been. Always will be. It's what I like. I'd rather you be incredibly interesting than boring, or rather you know all the things that you like and don't like than not have any idea what makes you who you are. So, in typical fashion, part one of this documentary, I will explain to you what Lucky League is. Not as Roy, not as Watermelon Roy, or N Steele, or any of those characters, but as me, Andrew Steele. Lucky League is an accumulation of my 7 years playing fantasy football. Yeah, that's right. I've only been playing for 7 years. I've been a football fan my whole life. You can thank Mama Steele for that. Born and raised South Florida, was going to Monday night games and games longer back than I can even remember. Would watch my mom enjoy football on television, listen to another game on her headset, and just had a passion. As most South Floridians, I grew up a Dolphins fan. I will always be a Dolphins fan. And while I have you here, once we finally do win that Super Bowl, I will get that tat real quick. Maybe on this arm, maybe on this arm, maybe on the whole motherfucking back. Because that's how passionate I am about my team. So, fantasy football 7 years ago, Dolphins fan my whole life. I have a passion for this. The first league I joined, I'm still in. It was our local league. I think it's called If You're Not First, You Suck. It's a play off a random Will Ferrell movie. I'm pretty sure you all know what it refers to. It's a standard league. Not that crazy in the scoring, very, very basic. Except they do it a defensive player, which is great. We definitely have adapted that. Loved the league. Was actually a commissioner league for a while. The league was on a point where it might dissipate. I didn't want it to end, so I took over as commissioner. I had some frustrations with the league because there was a big emphasis on just keeping it how it was. Just keeping it, hey, this league's been here this long, you know, you're not going to change anything or anything like that. Guys not setting lineups, or guys that, you know, auto-drafted a little bit, you know, and participation wasn't encouraged that much. You know, it's just a local friends league. You guys are probably in a league a lot like that. That's where Lucky League comes in. Because in Lucky League, we don't want average. We don't want ordinary. We don't want people that are just playing fantasy football because they just needed a team or because somebody talked them into it or whatever. The goal of Lucky League is to make sure that we are everything but the basic fantasy football league. We are not fantasy football. We are fantasy football. We get real. You'll hear that a lot. It's one of our first catchphrases. We'll see what else picks up as we go. So, Lucky League has been something I've been developing for a long time. It's something that I will continue to develop for the rest of my life. I hope 20 years from now to look back at this and see that handsomely good-looking devil and wonder, man, how did we come so far from where we began to where we're at now? Because if you're going to do something, if you're honestly going to do something for the rest of your life or for an extended period of time, you got to give it your best. You got to do it with everything that you have. You got to put a part of yourself into it. Because if you're not doing that, then what are you doing? You're wasting your time. So, as a guy that loves to put passion into anything he does and put my signature touch on everything that I do, that is where Lucky League came along. So, today, I'm just here to tell you about those different aspects of Lucky League. The scoring is half-point PPR. We do a double flex position. We do still have that independent defensive player that, just adds a little bit of extra. We keep the kicker in, we keep the tight end in. I understand that, these are aspects where you're like, oh, well, it doesn't add that much, or it's not the same. Well, every bit of that leads to opportunity. If you win because your kicker scored 30 points, well, that's storyline, baby. If you lost because some defensive player had a pick six at the end of the game, that's storyline, baby. And we're here for the storyline, baby. I don't care if the managers in this league are trash at fantasy football. That's fine. Most of them are great. What I care about is participation. And you're definitely going to hear Watermelon Roy talk about participation throughout the whole year. Because we want a involved league. We want people that are talking with each other, trash talking with each other, interacting with each other, enjoying this game of football that I've grown up with and I've absolutely enjoyed. Right now you're probably asking, that guy is pretty beefy. Has he ever played? I've never played football. It's not really my thing. I just never got into it at a young age. Frankly, I'm more of the typical fantasy football player that you would expect. I'm a gamer. I like pro wrestling. I like comic books and cartoons and all that stuff. I've never actually played a single snap of football in my life. And furthermore, I was actually a male cheerleader for about 2 years. National championship style stuff. Wellington All-Star Jags, I see you out there. Never dropped a stunt in competition. If you think I'm silly for that, you got the wrong idea. Also, keep in mind that the last guy that talked trash about me being a cheerleader, well, that's not my story to tell. So, Lucky League. Who is Lucky? Lucky was my first pet that I ever had. Beagle. Went to a pet store right around Christmas time. I fell in love with her. Absolutely fell in love with her. I stay out of pet stores now because I know how hard that heart beats. Fell in love with her. I said, Mom, this is all I want for Christmas, this beautiful Beagle. She said, I already got you all your presents. I said, I don't care. This is all I want. She's like, it's too late. I had to accept it. I went home. Feels like maybe a few weeks later, in walks this puppy with the bow. My mom took back most of my presents. She got me the dog. And from that moment, we're inseparable. If my post-production skills are any kind of bit decent, I'll show a picture right here. Or maybe right here. I don't know yet. We'll figure it out. This is all learning. So, fell in love with Lucky, inseparable. Slept with my dog every night. Spend every moment with the dog. What she'll teach you is that beagles are kind of, they're hunters. They're mischievous. So I very quickly learned that our gate in Miramar, Florida was not big enough to contain Lucky. So she would just jump on the stump, jump over the gate, go on exploring, always come back, and everything like that. Became somewhat of a neighborhood dog. Funny story is I once watched a kid run down the road asking me to hold Lucky because he was scared of dogs. And I'm thinking, this little guy right here, that's not going to hurt you. But, we all interpret things differently. Here's where the story gets a little bit more sad. You might not believe this. I kind of still don't. And I will never name another dog Lucky in my life. Lucky was hit by a car on St. Patrick's Day. It was a truck. Guy stopped, didn't see the dog. Wanted to apologize. I, as a kid, didn't want to hear it, but I do appreciate the fact that, he was man enough to apologize. That's big. So I lost Lucky. no other animal has kind of touched my heart in the same way since then. And you know, love's quite like your first love, but I'll cherish every moment I've ever had with Lucky. And the reason why I chose Lucky as the signature mascot of the league is because what's commonly said about fantasy football, it's all luck. It's all luck. It's lucky this, lucky that. So when I think of Lucky, that's who I think of. And I'm a dog guy. Mother raised Labrador since I was a kid. Raised Jack Russells as I became an adult. You know, she's actually had dogs in Marley and me and everything. I've always been around dogs. I absolutely love dogs. I love dogs more than I love people. So when thinking about a mascot, there was really nobody else that came to mind. So Lucky is real. Lucky is waiting for me on the other side at some point. And I'm completely, incredibly proud, and just the fact that I get to celebrate this dog that meant so much to me throughout this league is important. And most of the guys in the dog league, I'm pretty sure all of them, or the dog league, most of the guys in the Lucky League are all dog people. So you know what? If you got a favorite dog, go ahead. We even have a team that's a cyborg corgi. Like, let's celebrate dogs. Dogs in football. We're talking about some good stuff here. So Lucky will continue to be the #1 mascot of the league. As we branch off, we will create more leagues using dogs and other things. You know, like we want to do a Sunday league, which was a great Labrador that I had. You know, I recently just lost Miko, which was a small, long-haired Chihuahua. Little, but had the biggest personality. Thought he ran the place. I like that. You know, rest in peace. We'll do something for them too. And you know, it's just about remembering the right things. A mascot should be something that's memorable, and there's nothing more memorable to me than Lucky. And that's why she's on the championship belt. That's why she is the logo. This was crafted from a photo of her. Like, this is not just, hey, draw me something that looks like a beagle. This is in her likeliness. So, you know the name of the league. The of Steel. As much as it seems like I like to put my name in everything, I just needed something to defer or make it different from all the other different leagues that are out there. Lucky League is, you know, could be commonly used, but the Lucky League of Steel, there's only one, and it's the best. So it's a little bit of history of why the league was made, the idea behind it, what we're going for. So let's talk about where we're going. The Lucky League of Steel, this is the second year it's been. I happened to win the championship in year 1. Nobody let me. Nobody wanted it. And I had to fight for it. And I was completely ready not to win, because just because you make a fantasy football league doesn't mean you'll win it. And if you do make a fantasy football league and you're pretty sure you're going to win it, then you probably haven't selected good competitors. The people in this league are best friends of mine. They're my brother, you know, they're friends and family. That's where we're starting. But I do have a vision of it eventually becoming more than that. If there's enough interest, we'll start a second league that will kind of turn it into, hey, you win this league, you make it into the Lucky League. We could have a bunch of leagues to where the Lucky League is the accumulation of all of it. You're all a little bit familiar with the multiverse, right? You've been watching your Marvel superheroes, right? So fantasy football, there's a million different leagues. I like to consider Lucky League as a league of champions, league of legends, league of players that aren't just your average fantasy football league. We don't want to be your average fantasy football league. So we're going to do things to be different. My goal is to have a live draft next year. I want entrance songs. I want the pageantry. I want this to be somewhat very much pro wrestling meets fantasy football meets every little idea that I've ever had. I'm going to put every bit of my personality into this. And I'm going to do it because it entertains me. So when you see me in these different characters, acting like a fool, doing these things that you don't normally see, then just understand that this is for my entertainment. And if it entertains you too, that's awesome. That's really cool. This is a way for the people that I care about to enjoy football and fantasy football together. I don't think I mentioned this yet, but I am a season ticket holder for the Miami Dolphins. I will be out there at those games. I will have the title with me. I will do everything I can to promote the league and to grow it, because this is not a 2-year plan. This is a 20-year plan thing. You know, I want to be old and gray and teach my kids about this and do like my mom did and grow my children into be football fans, hopefully Dolphins fans, and we'll see how that goes. But that is what the league is about. So if you have more questions, let me know. I hope this doesn't come off as a cop-out video, because I am bringing in number 2. You will get to meet the champ and Steele of Otters and Ballers, and you will get to have personal interaction with Watermelon Roy, the commissioner of the league. They are not the same person. They don't even necessarily like each other, and they have their own storylines that they're going to be working with. You're going to get to meet some of the other members of the league. You know, we got a cyborg corgi, we got a sex panther, we got a bunch of different things coming in. We even have El Patron, a guy that you don't want to meet in a dark alley. So as you get to know these different characters and get familiar with the league, just understand that this is just for us to have a good time. We want to welcome everybody that wants to have a good time with us. And if you have interest in it, you have a suggestion, you have any feedback, you're welcome to share it with us. If you want any of the merch, we're still figuring all that stuff out, but I'll be happy to get you a shirt made. We appreciate all the support that you have for us, and more importantly, we appreciate the game of football. So, you know, let's just have fun. 9/11, Miami Dolphins versus Patriots. Unofficial start to the season. I'll be out there. Another name I go by is the Watermelon King. So if you come see me, I got a Jello shot. Actually, not the Watermelon. I am the Watermelon King. I've won multiple watermelon eating contests. Kind of where Watermelon Roy comes from. It's my favorite food. But we'll talk more about that character. Actually, maybe we should talk about the character. Watermelon Roy is the commissioner of the league. He, like I said, is all about entertainment, participation, and he wants a good show. He doesn't care who wins or loses. He just wants it to be competitive and fun. Why I call him Watermelon Roy is because Roy is my middle name. I was named after a family member, very lucky, very gambling driven. Watermelon, my parents told me they found me in a watermelon patch. The cows were licking me. Had like a little cow lick or whatever my whole life. You can't see it through these luscious locks, but it's there. So that's that character. And I don't want to be the guy that's the commissioner and the player and, you know, taking any kind of liberties or anything like that. So I made sure to separate the two. I treat this league as a commissioner, and maybe one day if things go really well, I'm not even in the league anymore because I've lost or anything like that. I don't hold this title because I made this title. I hold this title because I won it. Which brings me to N. Steele, Coach Steele, whatever you want to call it. He's the leader of Otters and Ballers. His storyline, I'll let him tell you, but let's just say that he's trying to make the world a better place. And he will compete and do everything he can to be prestigious with this title, and he'll tell you a bit of his story and the stuff that he's going to try to avoid falling into as he did in previous championship runs. So that's what we'll learn about in the next video. And in the last video, we'll talk about the league and the different players that you can see in it and the different performances that they will have. You know, I've encouraged the league to do as much as they can to come up with a story for their team and to maximize participation. This year will be a big year to find out who rises to that occasion and who might not make it. You know, it's been clearly stated at the start that that's what this league is about. It might not be for everybody. You might be sitting back there on the other side of this thinking, that's for me. Well, if it's for you, you're welcome to go ahead and seek me out. I'm not a hard guy to get in touch with, and we can see what we can do in the future. I get another 10 people, I'll be happy to branch out, and we'll start the Sunday League or the Miko League or whatever it is, and I will guarantee you a spot in this league. If I got to turn this into a 12-man league and put the top 2 performers from that or the winner of 2 other leagues in, cool. We're just gauging interest right now, and we're doing what makes us happy. Tendency to ramble, I feel like I might be there. I was thinking a 5-minute video, and I can see I'm already at 20 minutes. So if you're still watching, kudos to you. And I just want to say thank you for anybody that participates and listens and watches what we do from here on out. And if you don't, no problem. If you think I'm absolutely crazy, that's fine too. I can only imagine what the people that I work with think. But at the same time, they know me well enough to know that I am a character and I'm gonna do what I enjoy and I'm gonna put everything I have into it. And that's what I think you should do with your life and with your passion. So, that being said, appreciate you for tuning in. This is part 1 of the 3-part Lucky League documentary. Thank you. Andrew Steele. Oh, also, this is the last time I'll do this. I don't want to break character. I even question whether I should even do this, but I thought you deserved an explanation. So here I am. Andrew Steele is not Watermelon Roy. He's not N Steele. This is just the man behind the mask. This is the man behind the idea. I'm going to put everything I have into this and I'm going to grow it. We'll see what happens. We'll see together. Have a great day. And at the end of the day, remember, this isn't fantasy football. This is fantasy football. Get real. Out.